This week on QDL, we talk with Michelle Edwards, Global Director of Applications Engineering and Training for Faro Technologies, about diversity in engineering. Michelle is also chair of the Women in Metrology Committee for the Coordinate Metrology Society and is taking an active part in changing the face of metrology. Find out more when we come back. Welcome back to QDL. QDL is your weekly look at who and what is making news in the world of quality. I'm Dirk Ducharme, Editor-in-Chief of Quality Digest. You know, we recently had the chance to sit down and talk to Michelle Edwards, chair of the Women in Metrology Committee for the Coordinate Metrology Society, about her career as an engineer and how mentors, parents, teachers, and even STEM education are helping to increase diversity in engineering and why that diversity is important. But not everyone has access to any or all of those type of support systems as Michelle did. So it's important that as an industry, we make sure they are available to anyone who has an interest in engineering or a technical field. As you will see in this interview, Michelle had a lot of encouragement that moved her forward, and she wants to be part of making sure those same opportunities are available to others. Here's my interview with Michelle. So Michelle, how long have you been a metrologist? You are a metrologist, right? You're a metrologist with Faro, right? Okay,
Yes, I'd say I'm a metrologist. I've been with Faro now for coming up on 16 years and came into metrology from, I'm sorry, that's
okay.
Your question, right?
No, that's fine, don't worry about it. I got you. Okay, we'll just take it from the top. Okay, so Michelle, you've been a metrologist for quite a while. How did you get started in metrology? Give us a little bit of your background.
Yes, okay. I went to school for aerospace engineering, and in coming into the workforce, I wanted to focus on a smaller company, something that wasn't going to lock me into one particular item, working on just one small part. I wanted to make sure that I could really have a wide variety of experiences as I went into the workforce. And along the way, found Faro and found metrology, and realized that through metrology, I could work in aerospace, I could work in automotive, I could work in heavy industry, I could work in so many different aspects, all within metrology.
And what did you study in college?
Aerospace engineering.
It was aerospace engineering.
Yes.
And had you even heard of something called metrology when you were in aerospace? I mean, or was it just something you stumbled on?
It's actually something I stumbled on. I did not hear about it. You know, I went initially to go into either, engine manufacturing or aircraft structures is one that I was really passionate about. But as I talked to people who were in industry, I realized that they spent a lot of time focusing in one small area. And I wanted something different. I wanted something with more variety, and that's how I found metrology, where I could still work in this space, but have more variety.
And do you feel that? I mean, I would imagine even coming up through aerospace, an aerospace program in a university, that you must have been one of not a whole lot of women.
Yes, when I started, it was 1 in 11 women out of the entire class. 1 out of every 11 students was a woman. So it was different, but my parents always raised me to not be too concerned about that. Do what you like. They always encouraged me along the way to just whatever you're interested in, move into it, learn more about it. So I wasn't shy. I don't think that's the experience everyone has, and I'd like to improve that.
Well, yeah, and we're going to get to that in a little bit. I mean, what is the importance, do you think, as you said, when you were going to school, 1 in 11 women were in aeronautics studies, probably even less once you get into metrology, maybe?
Yes.
And so what's the importance to you, of seeing more, maybe not just women, but minorities, and maybe more diversity, maybe is a way to put it, within the metrology industry?
Diversity and inclusion actually is very important in order to give us different perspectives and different solutions along the way. And metrology in general, usually we're trying to figure out how something's been put together, we're trying to figure out the dimensions or figure out a new way of capturing these dimensions, and you can't do the same thing that you've always done when something is new and different. So by having a more diverse workforce, by including more perspectives and experiences, we might end up with more efficient and effective solutions that we wouldn't have if we don't have a diverse workforce.
Because you're trying to solve a problem. You're problem solvers very often, right?
Yes.
And so kind of the more perspectives you can throw at a problem, maybe it's easier to find a solution as opposed to one single mindset, one single way of looking at it based on your own particular background.
Yes, and you see that in measurement as well. It's often referred to the right tool for the right job. Right. I'm not going to use calipers for everything. I'm not going to use a laser tracker for everything. But I want the right tool for the right job because it gives me a different perspective. It gives me a unique approach. And the same thing happens with our workforce. If we have more diversity, if we have more inclusion, we'll have other perspectives and other ways of seeing and imagining a solution in order to take that next step.
And have you seen a change since you've been you mentioned you've been with Farrell for 16 years, 15 years?
16 years.
16
yes.
years, okay. So have you seen a change over the year just working in the field and working with other companies that there are more and more women becoming involved in maybe not just metrology but technical, let's say these highly technical careers as well? Have you seen an increase or a change?
I have. I've seen it over my career, and I hope to see more of it, being a mother of a daughter,
okay.
And she's 13 now.
Wow.
I want her to see even more women as she looks left and right in whatever career she chooses. I don't want her to feel as if she's the only one there.
And does she seem interested in science and technology and math?
She does.
Or she
wants
does. To be an actress?
She's interested. She tells me she wants to be an engineer, but her reasoning, we'll see how well this holds out. She's only 13, and her reasoning is because, Mommy, you get to travel to a lot of interesting places, so that's what I want to do.
That's what I want to do, yeah. I don't know what the engineering stuff is, but do I have to take math?
Yeah, she is really good at math, though, so maybe it'll all work out for her.
So, speaking of that, then, so what your daughter is probably being exposed now to STEM education, right? That's the big thing right now, and there's most schools now usually have some sort of STEM program. I mean, does hers?
Yes, most schools have STEM programs. Most communities have a STEM program that you can be involved with as well, which is one thing that I like to see as they're coming up, and one thing that we can be included in. You can always share your career if you talk to your children's school or your local school and say, let me talk to you about metrology. Many schools, that's the beginning of how they enter into a STEM program. How they get interested is through community and parent volunteers to share their experiences. Because teachers have a limited amount of time. They've got a planned curriculum that they need to go through. When we increase our exposure to science, technology, engineering, and math, and help the children to visualize themselves in those environments, careers are the main focus. Let's have people who can speak about what does this look like in the practical world.
Well, did you have that growing up? I mean, you mentioned your parents, but aside from your parents, did you have anybody who kind of mentored you in going that direction?
Not one specific person, but I had 4 very memorable teachers as I was going through school who I repeated in different years as different levels of math teachers. I had a math teacher who was so excited about math, and she ended up teaching every year of my high school math lessons. And she just had such an impact because of her excitement with math. She found you could tell that her enthusiasm as she was teaching you equations and geometry, she was genuinely passionate about it. Yes, and it spread, and it also helped me to see that, it doesn't have to be something that that only some professor does, or something that's boring. It helped me to see that she was very enthusiastic, she was young, and she was energetic, and she loved math, and I could love math too, and I could really be around other people who enjoy math and appreciate one another for it.
And so now you are here with the Coordinate Metrology Society. You are heading up the Women in Metrology initiative. That is a program, kind of an outreach program, I guess you'd call it, with the CMS. Tell us a little bit about what that program is. I mean, it sounds like it's trying to do what you got growing up, is to kind of generate an excitement in women in particular to get excited about, you know, math and metrology and engineering.
Yes, it's about increasing knowledge and awareness of what metrology is overall, but also focusing in particular, in my aspect of it, in women in metrology, because oftentimes we end up in this role and we don't realize all the many different aspects of the role that are in metrology. You know, you might have a computer programmer working in software development, working in a metrology software package, but not realizing the other types of roles within metrology that are also available to them. It's important as you venture into new experiences that you're maybe a little unsure of, to be able to look around and see someone who can tell you, this is great, come on in, let's do this. And as creatures of habit, we get greater confidence when there's someone who does that, when there's someone who pulls us along and says, hey, come on, this is exciting. Let's both get into this. When you look left and right and you don't see someone like you see that you're the different one, you can tend to step back a little bit. That might be the default. It takes a certain amount of strength to step forward anyway. And by including more people, by reaching out to other women in metrology, I hope that we can increase the connections and the network of other women, so that we can realize that this isn't such a unique item or such a one-off. You're not a unicorn in a forest. There are other women out there. Let's all work together. Let's all make sure that we're encouraging each other along the way. And not just women, but the entire workforce. Let's look at including more diversity in our workforce so that we have different perspectives and different solutions.
And are there any, I mean, that's great. I'm glad you expanded out. It isn't just women, it's more diversity in general. You happen to be working with women. We've talked to people who are working with minorities, and it's all about bringing more diversity into the workforce and kind of expanding that perspective on problem solving as well. So the women that you've been dealing with, I mean, do they seem to be kind of responding to this excitement that you obviously have?
Yes, it's opening doors for people to realize that they're a part of a bigger organization that they didn't realize was out there. Okay. I've met some women early on in this. There were 3 women working at one particular company, and when I talked to them about the Coordinate Metrology Society and that there were a whole group of people who do a job similar to what they do, they were very excited about it. Yeah. And it's their first year participating in the conference here, and it's been very wonderful to get to know them and their experience along the way. Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
And they'll get to see an interesting speaker, Bonnie Dunbar, right? Tell us a little bit about Bonnie Dunbar. She's going to be one of the speakers here at the conference, right?
Yes, she is. Dr. Bonnie Dunbar is a former astronaut, and okay. She's also one of the people who created the STEM programs. So Bonnie Dunbar has a passion for increasing education and for really targeting young people to make sure that we're equipping them and empowering them to learn more in this space, space in general.
Space, yeah, so to speak, yeah. And I saw the picture of Bonnie Dunbar's astronaut picture. She looks like she's like 16. So I mean, she's really an interesting role model for young women who are starting to come up in a career that they don't really know whether they have that support for. Whether are there really other people out there who think the same way I do and is excited about this, as passionate as I am. So I think both you and Bonnie actually are providing some some good examples for them. I think it's exciting.
Well, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. I
Well,
appreciate
Michelle,
that.
good luck with the program. I know you have a lot going on with it this week, and I hope it goes well for you.
Thanks. Thank you, Dirk.
Sure. So as you can see, there's a lot of great things going on at the CMS, and thanks to Michelle for sitting down with us, and we really encourage her and are really behind what she's trying to do there with the Women in Metrology Committee. And if you are involved in 3D measurement or are interested in 3D metrology, you need to at least visit the CMS website at www.cmsc.org. There's a lot of good information out there, as well as access to white papers on 3D measurement technology and its application. Also, try to attend the CMSC show next year, July 20th through 24th in New Orleans. Information on the upcoming show is on their website at cmsc.org. And that is our show for today. And as usual, if there is something or someone you would like to see in the show, let us know. You can send us your ideas at qdl@qualitydigest.com, and we'll try to cover them on the show if we can. So thanks for joining us today, and we will see you at the next QDL. So long.